Hi there, Cheryl here. For this assignment 5 with our course, Education 4250, Teaching and Learning Online, I'm going to be providing you a critical analysis of the University of Alberta's online Indigenous Canada course. So Indigenous Canada is a 12-lesson massive open online course, or a MOOC course, from the Faculty of Native Studies that explores Indigenous histories and contemporary issues in Canada from an Indigenous perspective. This course is a self-paced course with a suggested time frame of 12 weeks of study with about 3 to 5 hours per week, although these timeframes may be adjusted, and they are, as I was mentioning, self-paced. So, and what's also important to note, which was really nice to see, is that this course is available after completion. So I actually completed this course in 2020, and I reviewed and took part in this course again for this assignment and for this course that we just completed. So this is really beneficial, as there's a ton of information within this course. So that was really, really nice to see. I chose to review this course again because I have facilitation and instruction goals that are centered around Indigenous relations and reconciliation, as well as diversity and inclusion. So Indigenous Canada is for students and the public outside of the University of Alberta's Native Studies program with an interest in acquiring a basic familiarity with Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal relationships. I really enjoyed the format and layout of the course main page. As you can see right here, there's an option to customize my profile. So as I open my profile here, you can see I've auto-populated information about myself, my experience in education, what my goals are. And so that gets linked with Coursera and the University of Alberta. And so I can network. And what's neat about this is it's linked to LinkedIn as well. So there's kind of that professional kind of networking capability there too. And what else is nice, as you can see on the main page here, is that there is the option to print a certificate when you're done the course, which was really nice to see, because that was another motivational reward for myself. So there is the option to print or export or email a certificate, and then that certificate gets linked to my LinkedIn profile as well. The structure of the page is really easy to navigate. There was the progression and the flow was user-friendly. And one element of the course that I really enjoyed is that each module has clearly set out learning objectives and interactive tools and different mediums and things that are used, like videos, at the end of each module, there's an interactive activity, whether it's looking at art or listening to an oral history or storytelling. I use my mouse to kind of click and hover over gamification options and some of these interactive tools as well. But again, a lot of Indigenous narrative and history, which was really, really nice to see. And so each module has the learning objectives, the tools clearly laid out, but also forums. So you can go to a forum for a discussion for each week, which is really nice to see. I can have targeted open-ended questions there that the instructors form, but I can also have discussions with other learners as well too. So I can interact learner to content, learner to learner, but also learner to instructor, which is really, really good to see. And again, everything was really, really aligned. One aspect of each module that I really liked is that I could print the course notes. There is the option to, as you're watching the video, have notes that are displayed in closed captioned format as well. So I was able to actually utilize those notes, read those notes as I was watching the video too, which I'm a learner that kind of learns by reading too, as well as visuals. So that kind of I felt like I had more interactive learning capabilities. But what was really neat with this platform as well was that I could take those class notes and I could export them to a PDF and email them to myself. So as I completed each module, I had a full package from that module that's very professional looking, very appealing, and a good snapshot of like kind of all the many things that I learned. And so again, those materials are easily accessible too. So that barrier was, that kind of barrier was kind of dismantled as well. So another feature that I liked, as you look at each module, you can see the quiz feature. You do need a grade of 70% or higher to pass this quiz and then to go on to the next module. So there's progression there. Same thing with the readings. As I was going through the readings, I couldn't just click and drag my mouse to kind of get to the end of it and then go to the next. I actually had to read and take part in all the interactive prompts to finish it. So that was really kind of neat. There wasn't a time limit on how long it took me to finish the quiz, but the number of times I took the quiz was limited. So as you can see here, there's a limit of 3 for every 8 hours. If I didn't pass the quiz or if I was struggling with a question, it would kind of default me back to the portion in the reading that I should focus on again. And, the University of Alberta applied an honor code to each of these sessions as well, too, that had pop-up boxes that I had to kind of click and acknowledge. And all of the readings and all of the quizzes, as you can see, had like a feedback mechanism. So feedback was automatically generated based on what my response to questions were, which were either all times positive and kind of reinforcing my contributions to the course, but if I was struggling, kind of assisted me and guided me back to where I needed to go to kind of read and reflect a little bit more. And as I mentioned, during the readings, there was the opportunity to watch a scripted narrated video in note form as well, which was really nice to see. So I really enjoyed the layout. And as well, I think I mentioned there was the opportunity for me to take digital notes too that I could print off if I wanted. So lots of different mediums and lots of different interactions, which was really, really nice. My attention was always caught, which was good. And again, the forums, really, really need to take part in those forums. The introductory video of the course kind of outlined the expectations and the rules of the course and how we conduct ourselves, really grounded on those values of respect and acknowledgement. Same thing within the forums as well, too. I felt very culturally safe. This type of course learning experience wasn't so much competency-based. It was really kind of outcome-based and really kind of sparked authentic higher learning, which was neat to see. I was able to kind of reflect on my lived experiences in the forums as well, too. So this course had many different learning theories that were applied in the lessons. The course utilized those Indigenous principles that we talked about from the First Peoples Principles of Learning. That included a holistic theory, relationships to peoples and lands, and the incorporation of storytelling. And it was very, very culturally responsive. It was really neat to reflect on histories and place names as they're correlated to histories and narrative. So it was more meaningful to me, like those learnings. We already talked a lot about motivation. So the learning theory of behavioralism was a big element in this course for me too. Not only did I enjoy the course content, but the certificate was beneficial for me. Progressing and getting a good grade on the quiz was beneficial for me. I felt like my behavior was being rewarded. The practice of being able to network professionally was really rewarding for myself as well. And then the utilization of those automatic check-ins and prompts just to kind of see where I was going and allowing me to kind of interactively type in answers to kind of proceed to the next level was beneficial too. The course had a cognitivism as a learning theory too. I was asked to reflect on my thoughts and experiences and discuss those and discuss, problems and interconnect things and concepts in those forums. Discussion and reflection, exploring scenarios and solutions was encouraged. Also remembering sequences and the use of gamification in those modules was practiced. So I had to remember things, key items and concepts, and kind of enter those into the prompts, which was really beneficial. The learning theory of constructivism was utilized within the module forms as well. Learners were encouraged to reflect and discuss, as I mentioned, my self-experiences and prior self-experiences of other learners. And I enjoyed the forums because I was able to communicate with others in an asynchronous format as well, and reach out to the instructors. There was a really great team of instructors and teaching aides that were there to kind of help and guide and prompt, right? So that was nice. The learning outcomes in the assessment were clearly articulated in the course syllabus, which was nice. As I mentioned, feedback was auto-generated with all of the readings and the quizzes. The structure of the videos and the notes allowed me to kind of succeed. I was never caught off guard, as I mentioned before, in any of those elements of completing those quizzes. It was a very positive experience. This course had exceptional media. Like, I'm not sharing... Like, I'm not going to share some of the videos with you because it's a lot of audio and visual, but you just can see how professional it is. An exceptional casting crew and resources to assist in the video making and the interviews, the design graphics, the storytelling, and just the interactive media. The features that I enjoyed the most was the diversity in these amazing videos, as you can see on your screen. And the interviews, and just the real-time, I felt real-time incorporation of those asynchronous sessions. And the instructors within this course were pretty renowned as well, so I felt like it was a really professionally rewarding, very professional accredited course as well to enjoy. Some barriers I feel like students may face in taking this course is access to connectivity and technology. So this course does require sufficient connectivity to really enjoy all the features of the course. So if some students are living in a remote and rural area or maybe don't have high speeds of internet, that may potentially be a barrier. And it's important to reflect that this learning opportunity is told within an Indigenous narrative as well. And it does have a wealth of information on Indigenous knowledge, but I also think it's really important for learners to be aware that this narrative is within the the area of what is now presently known as Alberta within that context as well. Another opportunity within this course that I really liked is that it is a free learning opportunity. So it really gets rid of that systemic barrier of cost and access, which is nice to see. Another feature of the asynchronous delivery is that this online delivery can be completed at learner's preference, learner's schedule and time frame, and of course the opportunity to readjust that as needed. So people can access this anytime, anywhere as they see fit, which is really nice. My only my only comment to note regarding the course content is that the introduction and the opening video was really clear in talking about how this narrative is done in such a respectful manner and that it does not reflect Indigenous worldview of all peoples across Canada. So I thought that was really important to reflect on and really nice. And just acknowledging the diversity of Indigenous nations and peoples across Canada. And so this, again, as I mentioned, this was really beneficial for me because it provided context and content to areas of what is now known as Alberta, where I'm familiar with histories and Indigenous narratives within areas that are now known as British Columbia. And lots of diversity and inclusion measures within this course. I mentioned the closed caption options. I mentioned the ability to access materials in a very user-friendly manner. When you open the main page of Coursera, it actually links you, like right off the bat, you're going to see links to Indigenous supports, financial supports, course supports, which is nice to see. I didn't have to go looking for that if I needed that. And as I mentioned, one area of the course that I really enjoyed, again, was just a lot of those embedding of that holistic presence, that Indigenous narrative and storytelling. Motivation, we already touched on. It was clear to me what was expected in terms of my learning. The course had very good pace. It was very convenient. It was very innovative. It was very creative. Again, really enjoyed that certificate in professional networking. And I liked how I felt it was authentic learning and I was empowered because I was able to speak to my self-experience and discuss topics asynchronously. And most importantly, I had fun. My only suggestions for recommendations for future development with this course is that, maybe providing an opportunity for